Welcome along to live coverage of round number 5 of the Inside Line Racing League season here on Xbox. It's time to return to the traditional tracks of the European season. Yes, we were in Baku last week, which I suppose is kind of in Europe, but you know, it's the first of the traditional ones that we always remember coming to, and it is the Circuit de Catalunya, where the drivers always go testing, and I think everyone knows this track pretty well. Joining me in the commentary box, of course, as always, we have got James. James, looking forward to this one today. We had a few cracking races. Baku last week was pretty exciting throughout, and yeah, it should be another cracking one today.
Absolutely, it should be, and there's an opportunity again for these drivers to prove themselves around this fantastic circuit in Barcelona, and it's a real just highlight on the calendar for many drivers, this one as well. Now it's just become so synonymous with the Formula 1 season, has been for a number of years, since I believe 1994, so it's an awfully long time, for me at least anyway. But yeah, you're right, there's been Baztec spins off at the final sector. Already a bit of action to begin proceedings, but yeah, Baku last week, as we were just saying, was a crazy race. So much could have happened, and it delivered on a very good race, but it kind of under-delivered in the sense that it was so, if you will, just anticlimactic that we never really saw what could have possibly been in that race. There were so many different chances for so many different people to win that race, and every opportunity, bar surprise, took their opportunities, or didn't take their opportunities, as I say. And, well, that's the result in the end. Surprise managed to win.
Yeah, absolutely, James. I mean, that was a big opportunity for Sira to pull off something quite remarkable. Of course, if you guys were watching last week, flashback 7 days ago, on Friday night last week, we had a rather interesting situation where Sira came charging through right from the back of the field, and Josh disconnected from the lobby. So you know, there was a brief moment where we thought we might have even seen Murso, who was running second at the time, go on and win the race, but you know, it wasn't to be. Josh got back in and held off a charge from Sira, who then later damaged his wing, and really, if he didn't do that, James, it could have been some serious finale. But yeah, you know, we move on. We come here to the Spanish Grand Prix, and Bastic a few moments ago having that spin, and on cold tyres, James, it's easy to do, isn't it? Cold tyres, especially on the hardest compound, are difficult to warm up, and a simple and slightly embarrassing spin.
Absolutely, there's a couple of different weird little traction zones like that. You've really got to nail most corners. It seems like one of those circuits which will bite you if you don't treat it properly. A number of corners which have got runoff areas around here, I should add, but there is a lot of gravel as well. The AstroTurf is slippery, therefore meaning there is a lot of slippery sectors and slippery corners. Turn 9 is one of those, more importantly, and it's one which everyone wants to try and nail, but can never quite nail every single time. It's a very, very annoying corner. The corners to note as well, the likes of turn 12 and 13, very difficult on the old traction themselves as well. So lots of different corners that are very difficult, very technical circuit, this one's really to test the drivers.
Absolutely. Well, just jumped on board with TRL Limitless, and there was many people asking, as there always is, many people asking about his whereabouts last week. He, I think, was on holiday and soaking up some nice weather in either, I think it might have been Spain or Portugal, I can't quite remember, but he was off on holiday last week. He is, of course, back this week, and he's out there at the moment on those hard compound tyres, looking rather strong. I actually think in WOR the other day he put it on pole position. So you know, from Limitless so far, it's been ups and downs. He's not always had it going his way in the races, but I certainly believe, James, that in qualifying trim, I think he's really improving this year. If you look back to Melbourne, for example, where he was right up there.
I was literally just about to say that. This has been the first time I've properly seen Limitless, well, for a long, long time, challenging those top few positions on the grid consistently. The pole positions seem to be racking up for him on this game at the moment. He will hope it continues, but it's no mean feat in this league, as he knows. And it was a very difficult pole position he found himself in Australia, but you know, there's nothing to say it won't happen again here in Spain. He's never had the best record in ILR at Spain. He's always had slight incidences, crashing with Reynolds a couple of seasons ago. That didn't help him at all. I can't remember where exactly he was last season, if he raced at all last season. So it doesn't have an amazing record, but nonetheless, he'll be hoping to change that this weekend.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to have a quick look through the championship standings, and as I'm on board with Veloci Surprise at the minute, or outboard with him. Is he going to come into the pits? He is, so I'll move away from him and go to Sira, who's out there on the hard tyres, going a tenth quicker through the first sector than his previous effort. So Velocity Prize, he is the championship leader. He has won 3 races out of 4, second in China. Sira has been second in 3 races and 1 in China. So they've been fighting with each other at the top. They've been really closely matched so far this season, but it is Josh who has a 94 points on the board. Sira's on 79, 15 points back, then a big gap back to 3rd place, which has been the really impressive CRL Rosberg. We'll talk about that in a moment. He's 3rd with 37 points. Then on 30 points in 4th is Piepernard Brown. CRG Merceau is in 5th. OMG, it's Joel. A dismal time so far. He's 6th. He's not here tonight either. 7th, Feisty Ted. TRL Limitless, as we've just been talking about, is 8th in the standings. 9th, Jam Pancakes. And 10th is Jason, as Sira goes quickest of all. But, you know, I think we should firstly mention, James, before we talk about CRL Rosberg, that, you know, these guys, Sira and Surprise, so far this season, the trend has been that they've been head and shoulders above the rest, haven't they?
Absolutely, they have been, but there hasn't been that real tightly contested fight between these two that maybe people were expecting. That's a big effort. He's on softs out, Bob, but he's on fastest of all. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, carry on. Carry on what you're saying, sorry, Jim.
Yeah, anyway, but yeah, basically, Sierra and Surprise, as I'm saying, they haven't. They've been close on track. Like they've always had that sort of 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds gap between each other. They've never had that proper race. If people probably get what I'm on about here, never really seen them go wheel to wheel in major combat with each other. So I want to see a bit more of that. It seems like a couple of years ago when we had Hamilton and Vettel, I think in 2017, maybe in 2018, like very evenly matched on some occasions. But then they were never properly racing each other. And Spain seemed to be the race where it all exploded, and all of a sudden they were racing each other. So we may see that this weekend, but I want to see racing between these top 2 guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very tight at the top. And, you know, you saw from Sira last week just how strong he is in coming back through the field. But, you know, the other man I wanted to mention, and I said I would go to him, is he here tonight, actually, Sierra Rosberg? I'm not seeing. Yes, he is. He is there. Yes, he is. There he is there. Teammates with TRL Limitless, who we've spoke about already. What a start to his season. A couple of podiums on the board already. And, you know, that's very, very impressive from CRL Rosberg. Sorry, 1 podium, I should say. 3rd in Bahrain, a 5th in China, and a couple of 7th places sees him 3rd in the standings. And we know what he's like. He really is a master at coming charging through the field, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a brilliant driver, Cyril Rosberg, and he's actually looking like he's able to match his teammate Limitless on some occasions this season. Bahrain being one of those occasions, and you know it's interesting to just note that is a really solid. And we said at the start of the season, very solid Racing Point lineup there, and they're actually somewhat outperforming what we were looking at. I think with well, Joe's been outperformed by these guys quite massively on some occasions this season, and you know it's really looking like it'll be a battle between the Racing Points and Alfa Romeos for that 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship, unless Joe keeps having these off days where actually it may be a straight scrap for the Constructors' Championship. Yeah,
absolutely. Really looking strong, that line-up down at Racing Point, no doubt about it. They really have got some strong pace. They might not be right at the sharp end in terms of pace, but they certainly are more than capable of picking up strong results on their day as a team in general. And yeah, you know, TRL Limitless, he can win races, there's no doubt about that. He's proven that in the past, and will he be able to do that? TRL Rosberg himself, but you know, we'll just keep an eye on their pace this afternoon and see how they get on. But another man similar in terms of pace to the likes of TRL Rosberg, CRG Merceau. What do you make of him, James, so far this season? He's been reasonably strong, and I think he actually got a podium in AOR a few weeks ago, so you know, certainly looking strong.
He got a podium last week as well.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, yeah, he did. He got a podium last week, I'm forgetting, in Baku. So I was just talking about how Merceau could have won the race last week, and about a memory blank there. But yeah, Merceau last week as well got that podium. He was looking to build on that as well, wasn't he, the Ferrari driver, as he starts a flying lap?
I'll tell you what, he's in tremendous form. Also seems to find this sort of inner edge. It comes to like the European sort of season, and he sort of steps up the mark a massive amount. He's actually on a lap now. Whether it's worth us actually watching this lap and just taking these guys through what a lap would look like around Spain, it may be worth it. Turn 4 closely follows for more. So I was just saying, a few podiums recently in different leagues, and actually in the F1 Esports Challenger Series as well. We managed to get a podium the other day. That was around Spa, so somewhat different circuits to what he's been racing to in league racing, but it's still managing to put up a good performance. 2nd place there. That day, I think it was actually yesterday, so he done really well there. Turn 9 for more so. This is what I keep talking about. Very difficult corner. Try to take it flat out. It's very, very tricky. You've got to nail it, and then down towards turn 10. A place to make overtakes with the DRS. Open after turn 9, but Andy?
Yeah, it just says, I don't know if you saw it in your scene, Merso has a bollard. He had to run over a bollard there, which shot across the screen. But yeah, Merso looking to come to the end of this lap. Quite a tricky racetrack, this one, and he's coming into the pits in the end on that 1 minute 18.652 that he has at the moment. But it looks like a few drivers, Sira and João Pedro, the two Brazilians, the Alfa Romeo guys, they're in the pits on the mediums at the minute. What are we going to see then? What tyres do I think we're going to see people qualifying on? By the looks of it, it's going to be the mediums. Otherwise, we'd have seen them out there on the softs right away. So mediums to start the race, and I would presume they'll be going on to the hard compound. So a similar strategy to Baku, James.
Yeah, similar strategy. Is quite big on the old tyre wear, but interesting that the Alpha Bowl, we did sort of hesitate when we saw his name pop up on the screens and go in pole position. He is on soft tyres, and it's a 17.8. Well, it's an interesting one. He could well start on the soft tyres this weekend, and if he does, then kudos to him. We don't often see it, but he's trying to perform here, and he's gone even faster with a 17.2. Is that?
Yeah,
it is
17.2 from Alper Ball. Then I was reading the chat earlier. Josh was saying that a low 17. So I take it that was on the medium tyre, was what he was hoping for to get around pole position. Alper Ball there on the soft tyre, that might not be too far away from a front row start. So he's pretty confident that the soft tyre could work. And can the Turkish driver secure a first ever ILR pole position in what I believe would only be his second ever race? So, wow, interesting stuff coming here, James. We'll wait and see how that pans out for Alper Ball. But that is the target, to beat as Serial Rosberg comes across the line. He's 8th quickest and he improves by a 10th, but stays 8th quickest on a 1 minute 18.730. So interesting to see that. 5 minutes to go. He'll need to get in the pits quickly, and he's jumping across the runoff area to try and get back as quick as he can and get on the mediums, because it seems like that's what the majority of people want to do. The first man out there on the medium tyres is Jam Pancakes on his outlap. And he in Baku last week was right in the thick of the action, wasn't he? There was some midfield scrap going on, and he was right in amongst it.
Yeah, he was just it's kind of weird pace he showed in that race, because he got overtaken. I can't remember who. This is actually Alphabal, believe it or not. That could be. They were sort of in their own scrap, going on with their own business. And Jam Pancake sort of fell away, and then he came back again. He fell away again. He came back. He just had very weird pace in Baku. He seemingly just had the pace when it mattered most, and that was right at the end of the race. He's had it a lot this season as well, Jam Pancakes himself. He's been a lot of sort of racing action, I suppose, over the course of this season. It's great to see him in racing combat as well, because he does seem to have come on as a driver which I said at the start of the season I'd never even properly heard of, and now he's starting to take it by storm, and he's a great little driver, actually, Jam Pancakes, getting consistent points for Haas.
Yeah, let's see how he goes then as he's about to start his flying lap. A few other drivers, TRL Limitless on an outlap, BRL João Pedro and Sira also on outlaps, but here comes Jam Pancakes to start a flying lap across the line in mode 4, so he is going attacking for this qualifying lap. He's got a couple of cars coming out of the pits on the right hand side. That could hinder him, but they see him and Famous right on the brakes. So a clear run for Jam Pancakes through turns 1 and 2, and now this is the real neck buster. This is where you really need the traction and the grip. The tyres screaming all the way through turn 3 as he now heads down at the end of that first sector. What is it, a 21.9? He's found a 10th and a half through the first sector on his previous best. So what can Jam Pancakes do on the remainder of the lap as he goes braking down into the hairpin and then down towards this tricky left-hander? It is so tough, James. It's easy to run wide, get scrambling on the runoff area and even touch the gravel through there. You need a good run, don't you? Up the hill and then flat through this Campsa turn 11.
Absolutely, that chicane is so difficult. Again, on tracks, you've got to nail it every single time, because you sort of dip in to the right-hand part of the chicane there, turn 8 as it were, and he now files his way through. This is the trickiest corner on this racetrack. There's long, swooping turn 11 or 12, I can't remember which, but he's coming now towards the end of the lap. No, you've got to nail this final sector. Don't whack that curb on the chicane there, because it will unsettle the car, and then flat all the way to the line from there in. And where will he put his car? He goes second fastest with a 17.9. It's a good effort from Jam Pancakes, but I feel like it may be toppled. Surprise has spun on his outlap, actually. Just look back, and he's down at turn 5, I believe, and he just spun his car. He doesn't have any damage, thankfully for him, but not ideal preparation for his medium lap here.
Yeah, well, that would have been an eye-opener if he got damaged, because he wouldn't have been able to improve at all. As TRL Limitless is in the final sector on his latest run. He's been unable to register a time on the board so far. It looked like he was going quite slowly through the final couple of corners, so this is not going to be a good lap either for TRL Limitless. It's not going well at all. He goes P9 on a not very good 18.8, but João Pedro now goes into second place, so that is now the new top time we have seen from a medium runner. Who else is out there? Sira's not done a quick lap on his latest run. Let's see who else we can find going quickly in the end of the lap. Anyone?
No one
Fiona
really,
Brown
no.
just crossed the line to start one. Infamous, let's go to Infamous. And he is well and truly through the second sector now. So he's coming into the third and final part of the lap, which is very similar to Monaco. That's what they say in real life, that this track, as usually Monaco's next on the calendar, as it is in ILR. You know, if you're quick in the final sector, you should be quick in Monaco. That is what they say in real life. So what can VRSR Infamous do? Is he bundles his way over that chicane, which, to be honest, I'm not a real fan of since it came into the sport. As here comes Infamous across the line. He goes second quickest now. So he now topples João Pedro, and he's now the medium man to beat on a 1:17.583. Still 3/10 away though from that effort from Alper Ball. Feisty Ted is in the final sector. EVR Reynolds is too. We'll go to EVR Reynolds first, and he is down, I believe, on his latest effort. He crosses the line, goes P8. Here comes Feisty Ted. What's it going to be from him? He goes fourth quickest on a 17.8.
Limitless goes
so
sixth.
it's getting very tight there, and Limitless goes sixth on a 17.9. So big movers and shakers at the moment. A Surprise is 4/10 up on his previous best through the second sector. So here he comes. Has he got enough in his pocket to go onto pole position and topple the Turk? Alper Ball at the top at the moment. Here comes Veloci Surprise, the championship leader, round the final corner. Can he put it on pole position? No, but he does. Goes second quickest onto the front row, and a fraction quicker than Infamous. Surely Sira will have something up his sleeve.
Yeah, Sira was caught in so much traffic. He would have been on his fast lap on the previous occasion, but so much traffic around this Grand Prix circuit, and more so goes fourth fastest now. So all the times are starting to drop away for those who didn't set it on the last occasion.
Well, Sira's out there. He found a 10th in the first sector. P1R Brown's out there as well. Verstappen's off the track. Jason not lighting the timing streaks up at all. So at the moment, I'm going to go to CRL Rosberg, and then I'm going to go to Sira, who is definitely finding time. CRL Rosberg then, third in the championship at the moment, coming round the final corner and up to the line. Where's he going to put it? Seventh quickest. Look how tight it is. So many cars tightly packed together. Here comes Sira though, 3.5 up on his previous best. I don't know if this is going to be enough to go anywhere near the front row. Sira round the final corner, up towards the line. What can he do? Pardon me, what can he do around the final corner? Sira to the line. Oh, he's done it. He's done it by a fraction.
Oh,
what a final sector. And João Pedro beats them all. Incredible stuff. Where does that come from? From VRL João Pedro. It looked like Sira, it looked like Surprise, but the other Brazilian, the other man in the Alpha, came in very, very late to steal the headlines. He takes the stories. VRL João Pedro takes the position. He's second. Alper Ball will start on pole with a 16.8 on those soft tyres, but I think the big talking point is João Pedro, the quickest man on the medium tyre, James.
that is fantastic. The forgotten man, really, this season. And he's pulled it out the bag there for Alfa Romeo. That is a brilliant, brilliant effort from João Pedro. And as I said, he's just not really, on some occasions this season, proved his worth. And this is a brilliant, brilliant statement from the two Brazilians in the Alfa Romeos. Second and third on the grid. Surprise fourth. Give kudos to Alper Ball, despite him being on the soft compound of tyre. It's a very, you could say, jumbled grid here, and I'm really excited to see how this all pans out. We're all forgetting, of course, that Tiro Limitless is 12th. P1R Brown starts from the back. Now, if qualifying history is anything to go by, P1R Brown, that's a bit of a shock, really. That's a shocker. He's been so, just having really good qualifying positions this year, but not on this occasion.
Incredible. Wow. Well, I didn't expect to be saying that the top three would be filled by a Turk and two Brazilians at the start of the show, but that is the case for the Spanish Grand Prix after qualifying. Alper Ball in the Toro Rosso on pole by 4.5 tenths on the soft compound tyre, of course. But yes, we need to give him credit. But look at that. BRL João Pedro coming out of nowhere to topple the top two and takes the virtual pole position, you could say, by being on that front row on the medium tyre, ahead of Sira, Surprise, and Infamous. Murso starts from 6th, Jan Pancake 7th, Rosberg 8th, Reynolds 9th, and Feisty Ted James rounds out the top 10. Wow, what a session.
What a session. May even be the best we've seen this season so far. It really is. Just so dramatic. It all piled itself up to the final moments of qualifying. That's what makes a great session, of course. And hopefully that's what will make a great race. Well, it's a very unusual front row, has to be said. I did not expect to see Alphabal on pole, and I certainly didn't expect João Pedro to be alongside him. But that's what we've got here. Sira ahead of his championship rival in Surprise. So much could happen here. It really could, and I'm properly looking forward to this.
Yeah, I really am, James. I'm interested to see how much he can hold on out front. I really am. I want to know how much those soft tyres will work for Alphabal. I think it's very important that we wait and see what his pace is like on those tyres. He must really believe in that strategy, James, that it's going to work to decide to do that, because I think we've seen before in China on the last game, on certainly in other leagues. I can't remember if I've ever seen it in ILR, but anyone that starts in the front row on the soft tyres when it's clearly not the right strategy, they usually go backwards very quickly and don't pick up many points. But who knows? New game in Spain. Who knows? What can Alphabal do it, the Turkish driver on the front row of the grid? Has he got the pace? Has he got the tyre life to stay there? We'll have to wait and see, because we're kind of slightly discounting him a wee bit, because I certainly am, because I was thinking more about João Pedro, but we'll give him a fair chance, Alphabal, on those soft tyres and see what he can do, James.
See, the thing is for Alphabal, and it's crucial for him, he has to have a really good start. Like, he has to nail the start. And compared to all those guys on mediums, he should get that. But he has to sort of... he's not going to... it's a two-stop strategy for him. I don't really think he's going to go onto softs and then the hard tyre. He's going to have to do, I believe, a two-stop strategy this time around, and he's going to find it difficult to hold these guys behind. But I think there could be a case of, as you probably said, Andy, going to be a bit of a cork in the champagne bottle for many of these, could say, faster drivers behind him.
Yep, absolutely. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Certainly at the start of the race, James, as you say, he needs a good start, and he needs to try and break that DRS window if he can, while the life is there in those tyres. But we'll have to keep an eye out and see if that is something he can do. He is the only man out there on the racetrack on the soft compound tyre, so that shows you just how much of a gamble this is from him. Looking further down, as you can see on the graphic on the left, Feisty Ted, top 10, so everyone in the top 10 apart from Alphabal on the mediums. TSR Bastic, the first man on fresh tyres, he's gone for hards. Limitless and Dralex mediums, Jason Verstappen and P1R Brown going for the hards. So a bit of a split there outside the top 10. 4 of the 6 drivers that got free choice going for the hard compound tyre. So yeah, let's see how it pans out. We've got 33 laps ahead of the drivers. Alphabal starts this race, and from pole position with João Pedro alongside. The crucial opening few laps here for the likes of Sira and Surprise in their championship tussle. I mean, what about João Pedro? Is it too early in the championship to be helping out his Brazilian friend and teammate? Is he going to try and help Sira against Surprise? We'll keep an eye on that as well. We can't rule that out the question, but surely João Pedro at this stage of the season will be racing for himself and looking to get his first win on the board of the season, with Sira already up there. And it's great to see the Brazilians doing so well in what is predominantly a European league. So let's keep an eye on it as the cars all now line up on the grid and we get ready for the start of this race. Round number 5 of the championship. It's the strangest front row since Jork and Reynolds as the 5 red lights come out and we are racing. It's one of the longest runs of the season. Down towards turn 1. Alphabal looks to have got away reasonably well as he runs towards the first corner. It looks like the Turkish driver is going to hold the lead. Sira and João Pedro in behind, and that looks like a lot of lag there, but Alphabal still leads Sira up to second. João Pedro third with the launch of Surprise staying in 4th place, but he's got a great run on João Pedro coming out of turn number 3. Is he having a look into turn 4? Not quite, as Limitless is making a lot of ground further back. 4th place he's gained already for the Racing Point driver, and he's already moved clear ahead of his teammates Daniel Rosberg as they're going side by side. The 2 Reynolds as well side by side going into the hairpin, and it looks like Limitless is going to get squeezed out there. No, Rosberg is, and Limitless is up into the top 8. Big start from Limitless, crucial from Sira as well, James.
Absolutely, it's crucial that Cyril just dispatched of his teammate on the opening lap because he cannot afford to be stuck behind him. And it was a very aggressive start from both the Alfa Romeos. The Toro Rosso just so defensive into the first corner. Then he got an amazing run through turn 3 and managed to pull out a bit of a buffer to those two Alfa Romeos. But crucially there, surprises behind João Pedro. That is massive for Cyril in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, but surprise is looking racy already, only 3/10 behind him, and is tucked right into the rear as Alper Ball out front gets the start he needs. He's almost opened up that 1 second window he needs as we go on board with Veloci Surprise getting a huge twitch there. Coming out of the final corner, that just gives you a classic example of what the dirty air can be like, as VSR and Famous isn't too far away from the back of Veloci Surprise on the run down to turn 1. No move there, but the two racing points, we've seen this before. Oh, we've seen it in Bahrain. They were nearly rubbing and trading paint once again, but Limitless still ahead of CRL Rosberg as they were dueling very closely together into turn number 1, James.
Absolutely, they were. It's great to see those two still racing hard together as well. I do feel like already I'm starting to notice the Surprise has got a bit more, a bit less downforce than I think the rest of these guys. Seems to have lost a little bit in the final sector on the previous lap. Seemed to pull away again from Infamous on the straight. Infamous couldn't really get any closer to Surprise, despite the fact that he was a lot closer to Surprise than what Surprise is to João Pedro. That's soon to about to change because Surprise is all over the back of that Alfa Romeo.
He sure is. Veloci Surprise in a good position. Just a quick update on position changes. Cira up 1, João Pedro down 1, Limitless up 4. Incredible start from him from 12 on the grid. Rosberg down 1, Reynolds down 2, Drelix up 1, Pastic down 2, and Verstappen and Brown have swapped positions in P15 and P16. But we're now watching Veloci Surprise and Alper Ball actually out front. Is he already beginning to struggle? Perhaps he is, because here comes Cira round the final corner in good position to have a goal running across the line. New fastest lap, 1:21.4, and Alper Ball's going to get defensive to the inside. Cira knows he needs to get this move done as soon as he can. He sweeps round the outside. Can he make it stick? Oh, there was contact there. I didn't quite catch it. The cameras weren't favourable for me, but Cira is through. What did you see, James?
A slight nudge, really. The way that Cira come into turn 1, he sort of had to cut across the Toro Rosso. As a result, Toro Rosso got a little bit out of shape through the first corner. He still manages to keep the position of second place, but could have got a lot worse for him. Could have completely lost second place there. It was a bit of a... It's hard racing. I respect it. I think it's absolutely right what Cira did, and well, not absolutely right, but it was certainly just good racing between those two. But it's all starting to constitute up behind him now, and he's really going to struggle as well. Some of the fastest guys in league racing behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Cira needs to get the boot down and charge away. Well, Alper Ball is holding the rest up already. Early doors suggesting that strategy maybe wasn't the clever option from Alper Ball, losing out this early on despite being on the soft compound to Cira, who started third and in 3 laps now leads this Grand Prix. Veloci Surprise, his main rival in the championship, stuck in 4th place, stuck behind Cira's teammate and fellow countryman João Pedro, and behind Alper Ball, who's already looking like the cork in the champagne bottle, as you said he might be, James, because Cira sets another fastest lap and opens out a 1 second advantage, breaking that DRS window as João Pedro looks to make things even better for Alfa Romeo, having a look into turn 1, but not close enough. And it stays as they were. Cira leads, Alper Ball and João Pedro in 3rd.
Absolutely. I don't believe we've seen a 1-2 finish yet this season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we've seen one. So Alfa Romeo may be able to change that trend here today. Crucial though for Cira, absolutely right. He's broken that DRS barrier then, or just beginning to edge away and looking like he will break that DRS barrier now. And that is crucial because it's going to be so hard for those behind him to really reel him in again and close that gap back up again.
Yep, absolutely. He's just threatening to ease outside that window at the moment as João Pedro unable to get really attacking Alper Ball. I'm actually a little bit surprised here. I was expecting him to just get swallowed up immediately. That might still come as Alper Ball struggles to get the nose in down at the end of that second sector. And now that gap is clearly and visibly above 1 second, now nearly 1.2. So it looks like Cira has done what he needed to do. And João Pedro is going to have his work cut out if he wants to come back at his teammate, as well Veloci Surprise, who will be kicking himself not to get that perfect lap in Only a 17.5 from him in qualifying, or 17.4 I should say. I think he'd have been hoping for a lot better than that. As Alperbal's going to need to get defensive again. Look at the slipstream from João Pedro. This is an opportunity. He's going to dive down the inside into turn 1, and by the time he gets there, he is ahead. Alperbal trying to fight back though on the outside of the corner, and now on the inside. Look how close they are going through turn number 3, and now Surprise has got a great run, and he now fancies his chances of moving up into the top 3. Alperbal can do nothing. Surprise breaks later, and through he goes into P3. Alperbal, as I mentioned a few moments ago, is now getting swallowed up for the pack. As he launches one. Oh, up the inside, and not quite. Alperbal holds on, but James, he is definitely being swallowed up now.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have just been a number of, just as many corners as he had there. He would have lost all sorts of positions, but manages to hold off the McLaren, who went for the most audacious lunge. Would have been fantastic if it worked for him, but you should find Infamous could be past, I think now, well, the next lap into turn 1. That'll be his next occasion, unless he's gone too deep. Alperbal looks like he nearly did, but the McLaren still can't find his way through. And the man who, again, actually, I believe won the F1 Esports Challenger Series race just yesterday, really proving his worth here, but he just needs to get past that Toro Rosso and really hassle and harry the back of that Mercedes-Benz of Veloce Surprise.
Oh. Yeah, he made a mistake there though, clouting the Carbon Famous coming around that second part of the chicane, and it's dropped him right off. And
what surprise?
Murso is going side by side with him. Murso's going to make the move, but in front of that, Surprise is making a move. He's going ahead of João Pedro into turn 1, and Surprise moves up into second place, and now he can begin the charge after Sira. 2.3 seconds the damage after being in that traffic, but he's now clear of the pesky Toro Rosso and Sira's Alpha teammate. Can he now go chasing after him? We'll soon see, because there's quite a queue forming, and Famous was able just about to hold off Murso on the run down to turn 1, and he holds on to P5 for now, because right behind that we'll get even more scrapping. Look at this train of cars lining up behind Alperbal, James, as we expected. He's the cork in the champagne bottle.
Absolutely, but it's a terrific moments here for Sira, because as we said, he needed to clear that Toro Rosso immediately, and he did. And now look at the gap, it's 2.2 seconds. That isn't going to be an easy feat for Surprise. He's got his work cut out to really hassle and close that gap back in. But João Pedro really has to do is just stay in the DRS window of that Mercedes-Benz. That is the hardest thing to do around here. It's such a DRS heavy sort of circuit. They need to stick with each other. It's crucial for them, and that's why we're seeing this massive train form behind them.
Yeah, it really is a big train. It's going to damage quite a few races here. It's look at this. You've got the Toro Rosso, the Famous, Murso's in there, then Jam Pancakes, Limitless and Rosberg. Even Reynolds is right there as well on the tail of it. Such a train of cars, but I think in Famous is going to fancy his chances now into turn 1. Here we go. On the attack of Alperbal. Is he going to dive up the inside? He sure is. The Turkish driver sees him coming. Holds his line though on the outside and maintains the place. So good defensive driving there. The tyres aren't quite finished yet. And Famous will probably come back for a second bite of the cherry, but he'll need to be careful. Don't get caught on the outside, because if you do, CRG Murso, the man from Northern Ireland, is right there ready to pounce, James, isn't he?
Absolutely, and he's always one to pick an opportunity when he can get it, is more so. We've seen that in the past, absolutely. But it's Infamous's race is getting killed here behind this Toro Rosso. He needs to get past him, because he's lost so much time to João Pedro and Surprise ahead of him. He's pushing him through turn 9. He just can't find a way through at the moment. Here we go then, down towards turn 10. Should Infamous get past? He can get past on this occasion. The McLaren finally breaks that duct and finds a way through against the Toro Rosso. Great move then from him. And into, there's a scrap going on. Is that Jam Pancakes going slow? There it is, and there goes Rosberg right around the outside of him. Will he get that turn? Yes, he will. What a tremendous move from Ciro Rosberg, getting ahead of Jam Pancakes there.
Yeah, both racing points getting ahead of Jam Pancakes. He went really deep going into the braking point, and he's coming into the pits, Jam Pancakes. He's had enough. Has he damaged the wing in that contact maybe? Because he was right squeezed out onto the grass. Pancakes into the pits. So I'm not too sure what happened there, but he certainly went really wide, as we've got a real battle going on here. Murso on the inside of Alperbal. Can he get through? Not quite. He wants to get through because he wants to stick to the back of Infamous. They were 1 and 2 in the Esports race the other day, and here comes Alperbal under real threat now from Murso, who's slaying shots coming out of turn 3. No, not round the outside, surely not. And Alperbal's wise to that, covers the line, and now Murso's going to have to try the outside again, is he? Switching back to the inside, locking up, trying the move Infamous tried a few laps ago, and he's left frustrated. Is Limitless now, who's been slowly going about his business, gaining some ground, is now right on the tail of this duel, and looking very hungry. But yeah, a moment ago it was Jam Pancakes running wide at turn 12, and that's what cost them the place, the 2 racing points. But Limitless looking really racy, and is tucked right up behind Murso, who is under pressure now to get past Alpha rather quickly, James.
It's one of these races where those racing points will come into their own and they will have really good pace, and I can almost sense it, because that always happens with these two. They're always there or thereabouts, but never quite there, and it changes tyres or just a pit stop happens and all of a sudden they're right up there again. So there's an opportunity here for the racing points, but they've got to get on it quickly. And if Morso can't dispatch of Alphabal, and I think he will here, because the Toro Rosso has got an awful exit out the final corner. Those soft tyres are dead on Alphabal, and here goes Morso and surely through. And watch the 2 racing points behind as well. They're getting mighty close together. And there I think is Toro Limitless defending from Rosberg, who nearly runs straight into the back of the Toro Rosso there, but manages to keep it out of the rear end of the car and somehow manages to keep it all together. But my goodness me, that could have gone so wrong for Ciro Rosberg.
Okay, well, that was incredible. Look at this, Alphabal really trying to hang in there. He's off, he's in the runoff area. And is he retiring? Perhaps he is, because those soft, yes, he is retiring. Those soft tyres not working too well for him. And that is a real shame for him. I'm going to pause. I don't know if I can. There's a few people complaining about the quality in the chat. I do apologise for that, folks, of the stream. I don't know if I can fix it. Is there anything I can do mid-stream to fix it? I don't know if I can. I'll have a little look. Give me a second.
He's actually focusing too much on the car trying to overtake. He's not looking on the car in front of him. He really went straight into the back of the Toro Rosso, and it's just a heart and mouth moment, because you run into the back of them and you get in all sorts of trouble for it. But you know, if it works, it can work for you, it can definitely work against you. And Infamous has come into the pits in the McLaren. He's decided to bail off those medium tyres, the first of the medium runners to come in and change with a new set of rubber. And he will, of course, put on those hard tyres. Perhaps it goes to the end, who knows? We'll see what the McLaren's able to achieve.
Yeah, so Infamous in the pits as Sierra continues to lead on lap 10 now out of 33. The gap 1.8 seconds. Surprise is slowly slicing that gap down, James, isn't he? So Surprise maybe with a slight pace advantage this afternoon and between the two. So he's getting the gap down 1.7 now. So is this the race where Sierra strikes back? Remember, folks, these two have filled the top 2 places in each of the opening 4 races so far this season. Surprise has won 3 of them and been second in 1. Sierra has won the other and been second in the other 3. So, you know, really, really closely matched. The gap 15 points. A win for Sierra today will close the gap down to 8. But Surprise at the moment, James, looking very strong, isn't he?
Absolutely is. This is what I said in qualifying. We haven't really seen these two squabble away for a race victory properly. A proper hard scrap between these two. I think today we might see it, because Surprise's pace at the moment is quite frightening. It's very, very good against Sierra here. It's just going to be interesting, really. I think this could almost be decided on pit stops. I do hope it isn't, but it could well be with this sort of a gap.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on it. It's coming down quickly as ILR Reynolds has come into the pits now, and he will go on to a set of hard tyres just as Infamous did. Jam Pancakes, interestingly, 4 seconds behind Infamous, despite coming in as early as he did. I presume that confirms that there was a front wing change going on there, James, wouldn't it? Because otherwise he'd be right behind him. So, not too sure what's gone wrong for Jam Pancakes there. Where else have we got a battle on the racetrack? We have a bit of a scrap for 8th, 9th and 10th. You've got Drelix in there with Bastic and Jason. So, yeah, that looks like one to watch. But Jason, I've been slightly underwhelmed from Jason so far this season. He hasn't put it in the performances or the scoring the big points that I thought he might. So, it's a bit of a shame, but who knows, maybe he can pick up some form soon and start picking up some stronger results, because, you know, for Jason, it's not been up to the high standards we can sometimes see from him. 2 10th places, but only that 6th place in Australia to really write home about so far this season.
Absolutely, he's got a good pace when it matters sometimes, Jason. You're always seeing with really good pace towards the end of a race, maybe because he's just changed tyres at that point. But definitely has been a man to watch on some occasions this season. Maybe underachieved, who knows, but he is on a set of tyres here, which is going to see him go long in this Grand Prix, and that's something that Sierra did in Baku. It really paid off for him, so it may pay off again here for Jason. Jared Petrovitz, as well as Feisty Ted.
So they've come into the pits as we keep an eye on this battle on the racetrack. I think we're going to see Bastic lining up Drelix on the run down towards turn 1. Haas versus Ferrari. The Haas has got a good one. Is he going to be able to outbreak Drelix into the first corner? Not quite. And by the looks of it, the hard compound tyres on Vastic, 11 lap old, are now in better condition than a set of mediums at the age of 11. So there you go. It looks like it's the crossover point where the hards are quicker, and that's why you're seeing pit stops from the likes of João Pedro, who rejoins the race in 11th, 1.1 seconds ahead of VSR in Famous. So yeah, things beginning to happen there, but look at the gap out front, James.
Yeah, that's literally what I was going to say again. You're just reading my mind at the moment, Andy. It's about 7.5 tenths between these top two. Sarah's just sort of losing a bit of time, or, well, otherwise it's surprising he's gaining an awful lot. Seems to have some brilliant pace on these medium tyres. He may decide to go longer here, surprised, because he's got momentum and he's got that feeling in the car where you just got to keep going, because he's maybe even this later in the stint still doing personal best sectors, so he may be worth him staying out for another lap. Indeed he will. Sarah pits then. This is where it gets interesting.
Yep, absolutely. Hold on to your seats, folks. This is where it's going to get really, really interesting. Into the pits comes Sarah now from those medium tyres, and on will surely go a set of hards. I totally agree with what you said. Sarah had to come in there and then to protect from any potential undercut. Surprise, as you say, had the momentum, feels like he can go longer, and Sarah comes in. Is he going to come out into clean air though? That's the big question. Yes. Relatively, just about though, in front of him, around 3 seconds up the road, there is a colossal fight. An absolutely enormous fight. The three drivers we were mentioning and the two Williamses of P1 Brown and WOR Verstappen. Well, I think Sarah will be glad he's not as close to them as he maybe could have been, because that would have been really problematic for him, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, but this is a crucial moment in the race. It's a crucial outlet from Sarah, and he has to nail it. And thankfully for him, as he just said, if he was any hequicker on that medium stint, he's going to be in a real spot of bother here. But he's not in a dirty air, and this is where he needs to get his foot down against Veloce Surprise, who is in the final sector now. So we'll soon see if Surprise pits for those hard tyres.
Well, let's keep an eye on him. If he knows that they're catching that group, he might decide to stay out. If he knows Sarah's catching that group, he might decide to carry on. Let's see what he does. Nope, he's coming in now. So Veloce Surprise heading into the pit lane. Has he been able to put a good in-lap together and minimise the damage? It's very rare you see an overcut. I'd be amazed if he managed to come out ahead, but certainly 1 lap fresher tyres, he'd be able to run long. But of course, 1 lap fresher tyres isn't that much, especially when it's the hard compound, the most durable compound in Pirelli's tyre range. So, you know, it will be tough for him, but let's keep an eye on this. Where is Sarah going to be? He's coming across the start-finish line now, and Sarah is clearly ahead, and by not really a distance actually. Only about a second, so surprise. We believe he's got the pace. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres. As you said, James, I think we really are going to see a real scrap between these guys this afternoon.
Yeah, we could well do it. That's interesting, really interesting. They managed to go out that close together. 2 racing points are stuck to each other like glue in this race at the moment as well. I think Rosberg actually passed TRL Limitless. Yeah,
Rosberg has got ahead of TRL Limitless, but I'm struggling to spit that out there. TRL Limitless, there we go. But yeah, there's quite a scrap going on behind that too. Look at this. This is incredible. And Sarah and Josh are going to catch this group very quickly, and they're all on the hard tyres. That could really change the complexion of the race. It's going to be about who can negotiate the traffic best, isn't it? Because look at this. There's 5 cars, and they're all within half a second, let alone a second of each other. And Sarah, Surprise, they're catching them hand over fist, and that is going to get Surprise right back within the second window. And, you know, I say it so many times and it happens. Sarah, yes, he needs to get through and past these guys, but he can't find himself on the outside of a corner with one of them.
Oh, it goes Limitless.
Will be there and sliver up the inside. As Limitless is back ahead of Sarah Rosberg in a turn 1. Good spot, James. Through he goes. But we need to keep an eye on this because Jason is right in there, looking very close to the back of Pastek. Incredibly, no overtakes. I think the DRS is just equalising things out between that group, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right what you say though, because it is going to be a case of who can get past the traffic fastest. Also, you'll note it almost seems like Sarah may be saving a bit, because every so often you're seeing the red flashing lights at the back of the car. Often means he's in a bit of a low energy mode or a low sort of fuel mode as well. So that's probably the best decision, the most wise decision to do now. It's like save everything up and then build up to it and then pass everyone in front of you, because you're going to have a tyre advantage and he knows that. It's just about sort of maintaining the energy that he's got now so we can use it all on these guys in front of him and just make such a big difference to his race.
Yeah, and they'll all be using ERS on one another, won't they? That's the other thing. So by the time he gets there, he should have been able to make the attacks. But I cannot stress enough what I've mentioned. Do not get caught on the outside, because if he does, Josh will be there, and that's a big lag moment there. I think it was a lag spike, and P1R Brown has gone flying off. Well, why is his car there? His car is sitting, that could be a safety car, James. His car is somehow stationary in the middle of the back straight before the braking zone at the end of the second sector. I wouldn't be surprised if that causes a safety car. Keep an eye on that, because that is in a very strange place of the racetrack, as Surprise sets a new fastest lap of the race, as going into turn 1, we've got an attack from Bastic, down the inside of Drelix. Has he finally got his man? Not quite. Drelix defends, and the Canadian, the Maple Leaf, holds on. What a camera shot we had of that one, and Drelix just about gets his elbows out and maintains position. Jason now attacking Bastic. He's going down the inside, but he can't quite find a way through, and he stays where he is. Behind that, WR Verstappen and Sira will be getting very, very close shortly. Let's go on board with Sira. That's the best seat in the house to watch this big scrap, and Sira knows he has to do it now. Oh, he's got a 3-second time penalty. I don't believe it. Sira cracks under the pressure and gets a 3-second time penalty, and Surprise will be loving that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here comes Sarah. He's got a real opportunity. Verstappen opened his DRS, closed it immediately. Knew that he isn't in that fight with Sarah, and Sarah gets straight past him in the Alfa Romeo. This is massive then in the race. Another penalty for Sarah in as many races is really going to hold his charge in this one, and he's got to get on these group of cars in front of him quickly before really they pit. He just cannot lose enough life in these tyres as well whilst he's doing it.
He now has to go aggressive. He has to clear them quickly to try and build a buffer on Josh. That's what he has to do to get that 3 seconds back. You have to feel he needs to start making serious lunges in there to try and win this race now. He needs to clear them before Josh can get anywhere near clearing them. But unfortunately for him, Surprise is going for it down into turn 1, and he has now got that move done on WR Verstappen, and Sira is still stuck behind Jason going through turn number 3. Not working out at all for him, but is Sira got the run he needs to try and lunge up the inside into 4? No, he's not, and Surprise is gaining all the time.
He really hasn't done it at all, maybe even well enough here. It just doesn't seem like he's got performance. He's gone too deep into turn 5. That could have been really costly for him, but he manages to get a really good drive out of that, and maybe could hassle Jason into the chicane, but Surprise is on him like a rash now. He could even pass him here to Surprise. He's got a huge opportunity in this Grand Prix, and Jason's going to be really under pressure then from Sarah as well, down in towards turn 10, and the Alfa Romeo needs to get that buffer in the final sector, and he will do. Into 6th place goes Sarah, just about. Brilliant stuff from him.
Yeah, absolutely superb from Sira. Tidy as you like, timed it perfectly on the brakes, got the move done. Jason did not make it easy. He kept his DRS wide open, and Sira gets ahead crucially then of Jason, puts a car again between he and Josh as they go through the final sequence of corners. Can Sira now stick one on Bastic? He's got a fantastic run coming out of the final corner. He opens the DRS up. Bastic will have it too to the car in front, so it will not be easy. They're both reeling in Drelix. Drelix is getting swallowed up. Here comes Sira. Past both of them into the first corner. Can he do it? He needs to for his race, and he does! Oh, that was absolutely crucial. Josh still stuck behind Jason, and now Sira needs to run like hell. Crucial move there from Sira. Brave as you like, and he's through.
That is magnificent from Sira there, managing to get past not only 1 but 2 by turn 1. That is fantastic racing from the Brazilian, and he's just left the Mercedes-Benz in his rear view mirrors there. That is huge for this race, and Sira, as you said, needs to run, needs to get on with it. He needs to push like hell now in that Alfa Romeo. He cannot afford to lose any more time in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, Josh needs to get his elbows out now, but the problem he has is he's caught them in the middle sector. So this is not handy for him at all. And Sira can open and stretch that gap. He's got a real opportunity here of still winning this race despite that time penalty. Oh, there's the rain. It's starting to rain all of a sudden outside the commentary box window. Where does that come from, James? Oh, they're going for the ponchos. They're going for the umbrellas.
It's all kicking off, but if it's all played into correct hands here, all these cars on hard tyres are racing for position here. Surprise needs to dispose of them quickly. He could do the exact same as what Sira did the previous occasion. Looks like he went on the inside. Oh, he didn't make contact with him. It's a turn 1. He's got around the outside of him, got the move done. What amazing racing from him. And then Ferrari's round.
And into the wall, that's Drelix off, and into the barrier, contact with the Williams, I believe, of WR Verstappen. He reverses across the racetrack in the damp conditions and rejoins the racetrack if he can now. But that is absolutely incredible from Surprise. Pretty much a mirror image of what we've just seen from Sira. But all of a sudden, James, TRL Limitless is effectively the leader of this race if the rain continues to fall. This is astonishing.
Absolutely unbelievable. Where's this fan come from? Rosberg's under pressure from zero. Then the two bad users coming together again. The Racing Points not racing on circuit anymore. They've got to make it sure there's a gap between each other. Rosberg's touched him and he spun around.
Oh my goodness, it's all kicking off here. Rosberg off the road. The damp conditions, any light contact, any slide will send you spinning. And he's off the road. What could have been a great result has now gone into a nightmare. Rosberg down to 7th place. Contact and Limitless pets. He pets. What's it going to be? Surely not Inters already. He's going to be forced onto them, I think. Cena carries on. What tyres are they putting on the Racing Point? This is going to be incredible. This race has just been turned on its head, upside down. They are intermediate tyres. So Limitless is the first man to blink with 13 and a half laps to go. Has he blinked too early? Was he too concerned about a potential puncture? We'll find out as he rejoins the racetrack. But this Spanish Grand Prix has came to life. Wow.
Unbelievable. It's all kicked off all at the same time. Because of the Racing Points such a big gap between them on circuit, it means that they didn't stack each other, they didn't double stack each other, and that means also Morso's going to the pits. He's also coming for intermediate tyres. JD's losing it.
Oh, goodness me, nearly we put it in the wall there, and a potential win could have went down the drain, but it's still quicker on the hard tyres. Cena might still be able to get back out in front of GD if GD cannot get the temperature. This is on a knife edge, folks. A knife edge. What a race we are being treated to here. I saw the clouds darkening earlier on, but when I saw everyone pinning for hearts, I thought there was no chance.
Way too deep into turn 10.
Who's that feisty Ted going deep? Yes, it is. And Limitless now back on the attack. Are those intermediate tyres coming back into their own? Limitless now on the inside of feisty Ted into the braking zone for turn 12. He's on the inside. He's through up into 9th place. Make that 8th place, sorry. As wide goes Jam Pancakes. The slicks are finished. They're absolutely finished. They're sliding everywhere. Feisty Ted and Jam Pancakes almost running into one another as they all struggle for grip.
Oh, the Williams in the wall.
Williams in the wall, that's WR Verstappen. He's disqualified for blocking the pit lane, for goodness sake. It's all kicking off. Both Renault sliding their way through the final corner. But who's going to lead this race as Limitless only just about avoids contact with the car of WR Verstappen. But here comes Limitless across the line. Is he going to lead this race? Yes! He does lead this race, and by a distance as well. So TRL Limitless from 12th in the grid has now got 12 laps to hold on and steal a stunning win as the rain came and saved his day. Cena will be on the charge, Surprise will be on the charge, but as things stand, Limitless is all of a sudden the man in the lead. Astonishing.
Oh my goodness me, what has gone on here? This is crazy. If anyone comes in and watched this race, what's going on? But look at that, TRL Limitless from where he was 12th on the grid leads the Spanish Grand Prix. It's just, this is so similar then to the German Grand Prix we had not too long ago in real life. It's crazy how much action there's been over the last couple of laps. It's just kicking off in Spain. Bastek's in 4th place, for goodness sake. Where's he managed to find that from? The Haas? Brilliant stuff from him, and it's not over yet for any of these guys yet. A podium could be within reach for even Jason up there in 5th place as well.
Well, the grid has just been turned on its head. I mean, wow, how good could this have been as well for CRL Rosberg, for goodness sake? Could have been really favourable for him too. Cena, by the way, crucially, is more than 3 seconds ahead of Veloci Surprise. So at the moment, he will, by the skin of his teeth, finish ahead and cut the gap down to 12 points. But I think the big talking point is going to be whether Cena can catch TRL Limitless. But the problem he has is that Limitless doesn't have a penalty, Cena does. So I can't see how Limitless can lose from here, unless he picks up one himself.
A lot of people will be saying this, I'd imagine, in the chat as well, but Sarah's on the pad as well here, and many people believe that if you're on the pad in the rain, you've got a bit of an advantage against those on a wheel, and you can almost see that in the deficit between Sarah and Limitless. It's sort of creeping around that sort of 2.5 seconds margin, and Sarah has got some great pace. We've seen him do it in the rain before. He won his first ILR race doing that, I believe, in China, with sort of mixed conditions. He's proving it again here. He may not win, but he's certainly going to give it a good go. There's only 11 laps in this Grand Prix left, but my goodness me, it could really kick off.
Well. 1 minute it was Surprise, the chaser. He was hunting down Sierra. It's all flipped in its head, and out of nowhere, the rain has came, and Racing Point have got an incredible situation in front of their hands. TRL Limitless now leads this race. It's now Sierra that's doing the hunting to try and stop TRL Limitless from taking his first win of the season, and probably one of the most unlikely wins. What a decision it was in qualifying. He looked at the weather, he checked the weather, the two Racing Points together looked at it, kept it to themselves, and then pulled off a blinder of a strategy. Limitless has executed it perfectly and is now only 10 or 11 laps away from snatching a famous win here in Barcelona. The rain in Spain has arrived.
Oh, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? I just can't believe that it's all gone so almost pear-shaped for some drivers and gone so well for others. Jared Pedro was on the podium about 5 laps ago. He's now in 8th place because of all this rain and all this carnage. And Infamous has dropped off as well. Badtech and Jason have pulled off a miracle here from starting on those hard tyres. And almost seems like what I was saying earlier. Anything could happen when he was on the hard tyres, and it managed to work for Sierra last time out in Baku. It's definitely worked here for Badtech and for Jason as well here. They've proved brilliant pace on that hard stint, managing to stay ahead of all those guys, seemingly crucial then in this Grand Prix. It's 2.5 seconds between Limitless and Sierra, but oh my god, what a race.
Yep, what a race, what a situation we have here. Sierra, he is slicing the gap down, isn't he? He's getting it down slowly, James, but I don't think it's going to be quickly enough. Then he has the 3 seconds. I think he's got surprise covered here, as you say, the pad coming into its own and really aiding him here, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about Limitless with that penalty.
No, I don't think he will be able to, unless he can pull off an absolute masterstroke in the last 10 laps here. It's got to be Limitless to lose here. 2 seconds is the gap now. It's always coming down, but is it going to close down enough? He's got to pass this man as well. He's got to pass the experience of JD. It's not going to be easy for him.
Yeah, it will not be easy, as he now, as I say that, down to 2.1, that's quite a chunk. That's quite 2.0, that is quite a chunk he's taken out in that final sector there. And he is now visibly closer to the Racing Point. But that penalty is going to come back to haunt him. James, can you have a quick look at the warning situation for Limitless, the same for Surprise, please? And we'll come back and let us know what's going on. But let's just take stock, folks. Lap 24 out of 33. At the start of the race, it was Alper Ball that started this race on pole position on the soft compound. We didn't feel he would feature at the front for very long. He didn't. He dropped like a stone. On the front row alongside of him was João Pedro. He dropped back out of contention, and it was Sierra and Surprise. Sierra led from Surprise even after the stops, but Limitless and his teammate Sarah Rosberg, they stayed out long praying for rain, and they maintained their positions ahead of Sierra and Surprise without stopping. Then it rained, and then Limitless had the track position, and that is where we are now in what has been a topsy-turvy Spanish Grand Prix. Sierra is gaining, but crucially, he has got a 3-second time penalty. Limitless does not. And James, how many warnings does Limitless have?
Well, I mean, this is a crucial thing. So I checked all the top 3 there. Obviously, Sierra has the penalty and hasn't picked up a warning since. Limitless has 2 warnings, as does Josh, which means really then for these two, if they go off the racetrack and they run too deep into a corner, they get themselves an exceeding of a track limit or whatever, they've got a penalty, and that throws them right out of contention again. So it's all in the mixing pot here to be an absolute barnstormer if these guys can keep it on the black stuff. The very greasy black stuff, but the black stuff.
Yeah, the gap really starting to come down now, isn't it? 1.8 Sierra behind Limitless, but as you say, and that is absolutely vital, Limitless must be thinking, right, I know Sierra's got a penalty, I don't need to push, I don't need to pick up a penalty and give myself more pressure. Josh is the one that needs to push, but he just needs to get it under 3 seconds to Sierra, and he extends his gap, and he's got it down to 3.1. So Josh has to go for it in a sense. If he doesn't, and he does pick up a 3-second time penalty, it won't matter because he'll stay ahead of Bastic. So Josh is the one that's got to force the issue here. Limitless is the one that's got to keep it cool. Wow, this is really teetering on the edge, isn't it? It's well balanced as Sierra cuts another half-second out in half a lap.
This is where you'll see the true skill of these guys that you're witnessing here, because at the moment on just form and, sort of the credentials between these guys is absolutely incredible, and really is for these guys now as well, just to say, keep it on the black stuff. You can't take any risks. Sierra's got to push. He has to push. He's got to get past JD. But you know what? The stat you said earlier, Andy, the top 2 of this season hasn't changed at all. Like, Sierra and Surprise have been 1-2 every race this year. And now Limitless has all of a sudden just come out of nowhere and is leading a Grand Prix. It's absolutely incredible stuff.
It is absolutely astonishing. The rain has came to the aid of Racing Point this evening. There's no doubt about that. Surprise slowly starting to reel them in, but Sierra, it looks like in that first sector, the first half of the lap, Sierra gains half a second on JD, and then it levels out. Let's keep an eye on it this time. It was 1.4 as they crossed the line. So there's the first sector, 1.2. So between now and turn 11, he should gain it to around another 3/10 to take him to around a second. So let's keep an eye here on Sierra. And then after that, Limitless seems to be able to steady the ship in the second half of the lap. So here we go, look at that, down to a second now. Then they'll surely go to 9 or 8/10. He's every time in that first sector, in half a lap. There you go, 8/10. There's your full half second that I was talking about. Sierra finds, and then Limitless is just able to level it out over the next half a lap. So Limitless good in the final part of the lap, able to match Sierra. The first 10, 11 corners, no. Sierra is so quick, as Josh is so close to dipping under 3 seconds to Sierra. Wow, it's on a knife edge.
It is brilliant, isn't it? It is really on a knife edge. It's fantastic stuff. But think about it, if the Limitless gets the penalty and Josh doesn't, at this sort of stage in the race, it would mean quite significant. If Josh can get another second in this Grand Prix, he will win the Grand Prix, and that is something that you probably wouldn't have ever guessed, you know, a couple of laps ago. It's just not looked like that sort of day now for Surprise, who's had such good pace, but he's got to keep it up. He's got to hope that Limitless gets himself into a bit of a muddle, gets himself into a mistake, and that is what is going to win Josh this Grand Prix, if he can do it at all. It's half a second between the top 2, and Sierra is properly on it.
Well, Dralex is in the pits and put on a set of wets, by the way. So, how far away from that? How far away are we from that? So, I've just noticed that. So, Dralex is on the full wets. Keep an eye in the bottom left corner, folks, to his gap to Reynolds. It's going up at the moment, but as soon as that starts going down, it might be time for wets. But look at this. This is the most important thing. Sierra, as expected, through that first sector and first 11 corners, is so quick and is now right on the tail of TRL Limitless as they go through turn 11. They are far from flat through there now. Visibility is visibly worse as well. Are we edging towards wet tyres? Will we see them before the end of this Grand Prix, as Josh is now definitely under 3 seconds? So can Sierra try and force Limitless into having to push? If he gets ahead of him, Limitless will need to push, because Sierra has got enough pace to open out a 3-second cushion. JD simply has to keep him behind, and then with around 2 or 3 laps to go, he should be okay to back off.
Yeah, and that is it really. There was a battle behind between Rosberg and Jason. They're so close on circuit. It's all kicking off at the front though as well. Sector 2 got a yellow flag. Reynolds is out the Grand Prix, and it's all kicking off now between Sierra and JD.
Yeah, here comes Sierra. He's going down the inside. He needs to make this work. JD has it covered. He's too far back, Sierra, and he was unable to get his way through. But Sierra visibly quicker as the rain continues to pound down here at the Circuit de Catalunya. It's really bouncing down. It's not quite enough for wets yet. They're still out there on the inters. It's lap 28 out of 33. TRL Limitless does not have a time penalty. Sierra does, and he needs to get ahead to try and open out a 3-second advantage. If he can get ahead, he will put pressure on Limitless. He'll force Limitless to push, and that might push Limitless to get a penalty. Limitless has got 2 warnings. Limitless quite simply needs to hold Sierra up for as long as he can to ease the pressure on himself, quite simply. Surprise doesn't have a penalty in 3rd. He is going to finish ahead of Sierra as things stand. He also has 1 warning away from a time penalty. So he's treading on thin ice, just like Limitless. It's so finely balanced as Rosberg and Jason are battling like crazy down to turn 12, James.
There we go, Rosberg looking on the outside of the Red Bull, and I think he may just about get it done. He's got the outside line to look at, and he's got him. Has he got him? Yes, he's got him. The racing point of Rosberg round the outside and moves himself into 5th place. What a brilliant effort from Sarah Rosberg, and ahead of Jason he goes. The top 2, though, still within touching distance, and here comes Sarah again.
Here we go, lap 29 out of 33. You've got to feel Cena, if he wants to win this race and open out a gap, he needs to do it now. He's going down the outside. That's Drelex going off on the wets. Clearly not time for those just yet. And still holding firm is TRL Limitless. Yellow flag in sector 1. That's Drelex off the road. We lost Reynolds in the previous lap. I presume it was at turn 11. We didn't see it. Oh, Cena is very wide coming through. Turn number 3 on the exit. Gets on the paint and nearly drops the rear end. Limitless still holding firm for now. Without the DRS, it can be tough to overtake. And it's proving to be the case here in Spain today. And Limitless retains the lead for now.
Yeah, he's doing a fine job of TRL Limitless defending all of the experience on the line here. For TRL Limitless doing a properly good job just to hold off this Alfa Romeo. The charging Alfa Romeo, Josh is so sideways. Coming through 8 and 9 there, or 7 and 8 I should say. He's all right on the edge in that Mercedes-Benz. He's really pushing like hell now.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be on the tail of this group before the end of the race, I think. There's no doubt about that. As Surprise continues to slice the gap down, he's doing a stellar job of gaining and reeling them in as Cena continues to be frustrated. Cena knows now that he is going to finish third in this race unless Josh picks up a penalty. Simple as that. Josh will extend his lead up to he's on 15 right now, so he'll go to 18 points as things stand. Cena knows he has to get a move on. He has to get into mode 4. That's exactly what he does, and this is an opportunity. Going down to turn 1, lap 30 out of 33. He needs to do it now. Can he make the move on Limitless? Limitless covers to the inside. Down the outside goes Cena. Can he sweep? Right round the outside. Limitless is going to squeeze him. There's contact between them. Big slide for Limitless, and Josh will gain on them surely. Oh, that was incredible. I felt Limitless was probably squeezing a little too much. Cena was never going to give that up, and now Limitless really has to defend to the inside. Cena down the outside. Can Limitless squeeze him? Josh is right there. Josh is looking on the inside of Cena. Can't find a way through, and Limitless just about holds on for now. Cena now trying round the outside once again through turn number 6. He can't do that, and Limitless holds on. This is astonishing. Josh is now right there. We've got 3 laps to go in this Spanish Grand Prix, and I have no idea who's going to come out on top. Josh is right behind them now after that slight contact. James, I really thought Limitless was going to go for a spin. He was very, very lucky and did very well to collect that car and keep it all in one piece.
Absolutely, it's hard racing between the two of them, and I love it. That is what we're here for, the hard racing. It's brilliant to see it between 2 of the top guys in this. There goes Surprise on the inside of Cena, then through the right-hander, and this time he should get the move done. The Alfa Romeo, no, says no, and he just cuts him off at the apex. Goodness me, that was close.
That was more than close. They touched, James. They touched. I was on board with Surprise there. And wow, that was very nearly damaged front wing for Surprise. As Limitless there, as a result of that little squabble, opens out a 9/10 advantage. Is that decisive as they start lap 31 out of 33? 3 laps to go, but Surprise is on the attack. Cena can do nothing. Surprise going down the inside. He's going to take second place. He has taken second place. And the Welshman dances through into P2. And now then, he is only a second behind TRL Limitless, and he does not have a time penalty. So that is game on, James.
It's game on for the race win. Then no more penalty count to really look at unless one of them gets one. But Cera, I don't think he's going to let that slide. Surely he's going to have to fight Surprise back again. He is not the sort of guy to kill off a battle like that and not come back at him. He's going to have to go full guns blazing on that Mercedes once again. But it's 9/10 of a second, 2 laps to go. Anything's possible here, as we've seen, and anything will happen here.
Oh wow, this is mad. This is mad. Is there ever an ILR race that doesn't have much action? As Cena has a major moment through turn number 11. Goodness me, his heart would have been in his mouth. He nearly went off the track and into a massive accident, but he collects it all together, and I think that's his challenge of Surprise gone. He's 1.2 away now as Surprise moves in for the kill to try and earn his 4th win in 5 races, James. He's right there.
He is right there. Limitless is going to be, well, the heart's going to be pounding for both of these guys at the moment, isn't it? Absolutely on a knife edge, and Limitless just got to defend these last 2 laps. He's got to keep the gap as well. He's closing all the time, really, but he's got to manage it, and he's just got to maintain it. And Surprise has got so much top-end speed in that Mercedes. He's going to really struggle in the penultimate, sort of the first half of the lap here, Limitless. He's going to have to defend like crazy.
Oh, goodness me, this is absolutely brilliant. As hold on a minute, Infamous and Jason going down towards turn one will quickly shuffle away from the action at the front. Here comes Infamous trying to go down the outside of Jason. Oh, he's got a great piece of driving there from Infamous. That is absolutely stunning. Round the outside in the damp conditions, sweeping through. Great. Oh, he's going to lose it now, though. Oh, big moment there. Well, I spoke too soon, but he just about collects it together and retains P6. Well, I thought for a moment there I'd pulled a commentator's curse on him, but not quite. Tidy stuff. What a move it was initially. And great car control as João Pedro now attacks Jason on the inside. And it looks like he has edged his way through and up into P7. Great racing there in the midfield.
Yeah, just watching Josh there getting so scrawny under the traction zone of turn 9, the uphill right-hander, and look how close he is then to JD. It's going to be a final lap lunge from the Welshman in Welsh conditions, you could say, really. He's losing the back end, he's got no grip, no front end grip. The front end is just sliding all over the place. As Rosberg has got past Bastek, what a drive that is from the other racing point. But it could be a brilliant day in the office for them.
He's got a run, James. He definitely has a run there. Surprise got a fantastic run coming out of the final couple of corners as we move on to lap 33. Out of 33, it's the final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix. TRL Limitless versus Veloci Surprise. This is going to be brilliant. On the final lap, Limitless covers the inside. Surprise tries everything he can to try and find a way through. GD has it covered. The Racing Point putting in a stunning defensive drive, a gritty, determined effort to try and keep one of the hottest prospects in F1 Esports behind him, and at the moment he's just about managing to do it. Look at him, he's pushing around all the corners. Surprise is absolutely determined to take this away, but Limitless is having absolutely none of it. Sierra once again has found a second wind and is now right on the tail of Veloci Surprise on the final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix. TRL Limitless looks at the moment like the master strategy to start on the medium tyre, run all the way and go on to the inters when the rain came. Is it going to pay off for him? At the moment it looks like it will. Josh is going to have one final attempt. He's going to try up the inside. He's too far back. He ain't going to do it. And is that his final chance gone? On the final lap here. Sierra trying everything to get onto the tail of Josh, but it isn't going to be. TRL Limitless surely now has pulled off a sensational one-stop strategy when everyone else stopped twice because they had to come in after their first stop for inters. GD went from mediums to the inters. He's went from 12 to lead the race. It's TRL Limitless that reigns in Spain. He wins an astonishing Spanish Grand Prix. Veloci Surprise is second, Sierra is third, and the other Racing Point of TRL Rosberg is fourth, with Bastek in fifth. What a race that was, James. Astonishing, incredible, and the Surprise Sierra Dominus comes to an end because TRL Limitless takes the win from 12th on the grid. What a race, James Baker.
I cannot believe what I've just witnessed. That was unbelievable racing. From the, you could say, top 3 guys in league racing on Xbox at the moment. It was absolutely sensational. A proper scrap for the win here. And we really got treated to something properly special here today with JD. That is experience on another level. Just timing it to perfection from the Racing Point. It is brilliant that he's managed to hold off Veloci Surprise, who was on him like a rash on that final lap. Just the nerve you must have to just break that little bit later into corners on the defence and just managing to hold it all together. Tiro Limitless, take a bow, son. Take a bow. That was unbelievable.
That was astonishing. There they are on the top, they're on the podium, and all 3 of them deserve to be up there. What a strategy from TRL Limitless, from Racing Point, because TRL Rosberg did something similar. Where would he have been without that spin? But it's an incredible win, a gutsy, determined drive from TRL Limitless, from P12 on the grid. I'm pretty sure he would not have imagined that result on the Sunday. Champagne in hand, top step of the podium, trophy as well. He wins with Surprise in second and Sierra in third. James, wow, what a race. Take us through the final results.
Absolutely right. Tiro Limitless, as you've heard, has won the Spanish Grand Prix, and unbelievably for this one, of all of you statisticians out there, his second win in ILR, and only his second win in ILR, finishes ahead of Veloci Surprise and Sierra, rounds off the podium. Rosberg with a tremendous effort to finish fourth in the end. Bastek, again, another standout drive for minute, finished fifth. Jason with a really good haul of points and stick, matching his best result of the season. Also finishes seventh from sixth on the grid. Infamous started from fifth, had a really good pace at the start, fell away because of Alpabol and the Toro Rosso holding him up. João Pedro, the man who started on the front row, the fastest moving runner in qualifying, finished ninth in the end. Jam Pancakes rounds out the top 10, still manages to get points for Hat on the board. Feisty Ted manages 11th. Drelix, tidbit for Wets in the end, he finishes in 12th. And then it's the DNF, the non-finishers. Reynolds didn't manage to finish, nor did P1R Brown, who just had a bit of a weird moment. Alphabol went straight on down at turn 4, and WR Verstappen got disqualified for alleged blocking pit lane, which seems a bit peculiar, and it's just a really bad penalty, in my opinion. He had no right to get that disqualification. But here you go, that is the way it is. There we go. We've got two of the top. I nearly said the top two of the we haven't got that quite yet.
Yeah, well, we'll have a quick discussion then, James, about that, because that was incredible. First of all, James, I want to ask, driver of the day. Everyone in the chat, give us your driver of the day. But I think we all know who the driver of the day was after that one, coming from 12 to win. It's got to be TRL Limitless, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. I just didn't expect it. I did say again, I'll just say it now, during the race I did say the racing points all of a sudden come quite good at the end of a race. They definitely come very well at the end of the race here, didn't they? With a first and fourth place finish. That is a really, really good return for Racing Point. They should be mighty happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, they will. I mean, there were so many talking points in that Grand Prix as well. We had Sierra versus Surprise, looked like it was hotting up earlier on in the Grand Prix. Then Sierra cutting through the traffic after his time penalty really well and putting the pressure on Josh. And then all of a sudden the rain coming and throwing all of what we were talking about straight in the bin. And then all of a sudden focusing on the charge from TRL Limitless. It really was incredible what was going on at times as we finally get the race winner in here after what can only be described as an absolutely astonishing race. James, take it away. Give us the interviews.
Here we go, guys. It's probably the moment everyone's been waiting for, isn't it? All of a sudden we've got a week full of JD's viewers in the stream as well. JD, we have to start with you. That was pretty mega, wasn't it? 12th on the grid. We could look at it as a low point, really. Not the greatest qualifying, but we're not here for the low points, especially after a drive like that. What was your main aim going into this race? Because surely you didn't expect to manage just long those mediums for that sort of distance and then nail the switch over period, it seems, to get onto those inters.
Yeah, I can't believe it, to be honest. That was, already one of the best races I've done. I know I probably say that a lot of times, but that definitely was. Coming to this, I've had quite a low period recently in league racing in this game. I feel like the raw pace is definitely there. I've had a couple poles, one in this league and other leagues as well, and just haven't been able to put races together recently. So coming into this one, I was really, really struggling actually in practice in the dry. There's no way I could get anywhere near pole. Didn't have a good qualifying lap there. And honestly, for this race, since I've had damage a lot recently, I just really want to just have a clean race and just not make stupid decisions, stupid dive bombs or anything, no damage, and just get through the race unscathed in the first stint and just see what I could do. And I think it was a really amazing thing. I actually started outside the top 10. I think if I didn't, it would have been very, very touch and go to make it last that long. I just kept on going. I thought, I'm in first position. Why would I pit now? Probably kick myself if I pitted for the hards and it would start raining in the next lap. So I thought if I get a punch, I'll just keep going. And normally I balls up when it goes from like dry to wet, which I've done so many times. But this time I just started feeling a loss of grip, and I thought, you know what, even though DRS hasn't been disabled yet, I'm just going to go into the pits. And the first half of the lap, it didn't really work out. I thought it was a wrong decision. But then in Sector 3, everyone just went off the track, and I thought, oh, that's it. But when I went on the wets, I thought I'd be caught really quickly, but I just somehow managed to just keep it on track and drove pretty solid. And the battles I had with Sierra, almost, I thought I was going to cry at one point when he almost spun me around. But and then with Josh as well, fair play to him for not dive bombing it down the inside. I was expecting him to go down the inside, but pretty hard but fair racing, I think. And yeah, I just can't believe it really.
Yeah, I mean, in a position like that, we'll go really towards the end of the race because we're all kicked off, of course. But it must have been quite nervy for you because, I mean, I'm sure you have high praise for the other two guys on the podium today, Surprise and Sierra, very, very quick guys, top two in the championship. They've got credentials and you know that. So just sort of, was it weird to sort of, the pressure that you must have been under on those final few laps, just trying not to crack, trying not to, dare I say, bottle it against these guys? That must have been properly tough out there.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the toughest races I've had. I know both these guys are on Xbox. I think they're the two best on the game on Xbox by a distance. I think right now, as a whole package, definitely. Knowing Sierra, he's crazy good in the wet and the pad, and then Surprise is just beast every single time he races. So honestly, I didn't really feel nervous, to be honest. I just thought I've just had such bad results recently. I'm just going if you just give it everything. Just try not to be cautious, and I think that's probably what saved me. Rather than, I think if I was being cautious and just not trying to break on curbs or anything at all, I think I probably would end up making more mistakes. So I just thought it's going to literally be all or nothing. I'm either going to win this race or I'm going to come third. So I think that's what really helped me. So yeah, I didn't really have any nerves. I just wanted to literally just try my best, and that was it.
I mean, those massive congratulations. First win since Silverstone in our last season, I believe, so pretty good to get your win today. Let's congratulations again. We move swiftly on to Veloce Surprise, or Josh, finishes in second place today. And Josh, it was, again, you could say maybe one of the toughest races you've had this season. It was definitely no plain sailing race like you've had for the first three or first four. You've won 3 of the first 4 races this season. But that one, you had really good pace, but it almost seems like it was the wrong place at the wrong time on some occasions. It just didn't seem to work out for you today.
Yeah, it was a good race, but I was quite disappointed, honestly. Qualifying, starting, 4th. I felt like my qualities this season have been really good, especially my last runs. But not this time. And starting behind the 2 Brazilians in the Alfa Romeos, it was tough because they were lagging just a little bit, especially João Pedro. But yeah, once I managed to get past him, I managed to close Sierra down just enough. I think I got within his DRS, but then he undercut me, and then, yeah, as you said, wrong place at the wrong time with all the traffic. By the time Sierra got through and I was still stuck behind, he had quite a bit of a gap. And then obviously, when I pit for the Inters, I had no clue what JD. And then when I seen him come out in the lead, I was like, how? I don't know what he did. And then I got told he started. He didn't pit hard. So yeah, GG to him. It was a good battle. He defended really well against both of us at the end. And GG to Sierra as well.
Absolutely, it's I mean, it's difficult to really say after a race like that. But you know, these sorts of races that you have, I mean, there's not been many occasions this season, which I said to Andy and we were discussing in commentary, that we've really seen you properly racing someone this season. We haven't seen you go properly wheel to wheel, like in combat for the lead of the race properly, you know, for that sort of duration. So what was that like? Is it something that you thrive off? Is it something that you want to do more of?
Oops.
It's obviously the last time I was in ILR, not last season, the season before, he was battling at the front with Simon. He was pretty much just slipstream, only passing the slipstream. No battling, as you said, like really, not really battling, because you just didn't want to lose any time. Sticking behind someone in the slipstream is just by far the fastest way to go. So that's what it was like. But this season, yeah, it's fun, it's interesting, it's different. The only thing I don't like about it is the ability to just crash, take someone out, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely enjoy battling hard, especially when it's fair and space is given and stuff like that.
Absolutely, and actually for that, I didn't say it last week, but congratulations or commiserations on the P2 today, however you want to look at it. Sarah, we come to you in third. We had so much preps before going into this race. We had You know, I don't know. Well, we won't go there. But it was a race for you today, which started pretty well, has to be said. You did manage to pull that gap after Alphabol sort of held up a bit of a queue of cars behind you. At that moment, what was your real thoughts? Because it was never going to be plain sailing from there. But did you always feel like you had good enough to pace to be right at the front all of the time?
Well, first of all, sorry for Limitless for the contact. I know I just were too aggressive into turn 2, so yeah, it was totally my fault, that contact. And actually in the race, I was just praying for the rain to come with 4 laps to go only, because he was just saying that in the weather, in the qualifying. In the quali, I just thought to start on the softs and put the hards, or just start only in the hards and just wait for the rain. But when I just saw most of the people going to the normal strategy, I just said to think to go to the medium tires as well. And just trying to make the race of my dreams, which was actually happening besides the penalty until the rain comes. And when I just saw behind limits, I just tried to catch him as fast as possible and just pass him, open a 3-second gap because I had a penalty, and I was just trying to wait to close the gap to surprise in the championship. But I did some mistakes and I just paid for that. P3, not bad. Just waiting for Monaco, waiting for a miracle.
Yeah, I suppose you will be. I mean, Monaco moving on to that sort of a race. It's recent races have been unlucky for yourself, getting the penalty, and in Baku having just flying over the curb into the wall. But for Pad, is it sort of different now in this game, or is it the same old, same old? We know what Pad used to say when it comes to Monaco. It's hell. You don't really want to rush around there.
Well, I'm a bit more curious with that in Monaco, at least, because when I just did a time trial there, it was in the pre-patch before the performance patch, so I was just like half a second behind Joe in the TT, which is a good wheel driver, so probably will be in the same way in the race. So I'm just going to pray for a heavy rain or something like that to just try to fight for the podium, which is very hard to overtake in Monaco because it's Monaco and the cars are just so big, so it's much difficult to make 2 cars side by side in one corner. And I just forgot to say G2 JD2 hold a 19 lap on the medium tires. It's just, in lap 12 I was just almost having a puncture, so 19 laps is just a pretty good. Imagine where.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it looks like you'll be hoping for like a Senna 98, I think it was. 98, sorry, 84, I meant. That's that sort of race where I can't even remember what car he was in. Anyway, I'll shut up now. But that's the sort of conditions I bet you're looking out for that weekend. But, again, commiserations or congratulations on 3rd place. However you want to look at it, again, I always say that because some people aren't satisfied with podiums and some people are. So, however you want to look at it. But yeah, Andy, we'll go back to it. What a tremendous Grand Prix. Maybe one of the best that I've seen in this league, but there's so many, it's so difficult to really pinpoint.
Yeah, it's difficult. There is so many at times. We're not just saying that to big it up. We were serious. Some of the races that we get the pleasure to commentate in this league are just incredible. But that one today, it had some good side-by-side action, but not as much as the other classics that we talk about when we see so much drama. But what I will say is the unpredictability today, the way that was flung up in the air, there was a script being written, and as soon as that rain started to fall, just take a big shredder to that and rip it to bits. And all of a sudden, I see the rain, I'm looking up and I'm seeing Limitless and Rosberg 1 and 2, and I'm thinking, this race has just been totally turned on its head. And it's drama like that, it's moments like that you live for, whether it's in Formula 1, whether it's on F1 Esports. And it's brilliant, it's great to see. And then, the charge to the end from Josh, the charge from Sira, they tried everything in their powers to get past Limitless, but the wise old head came out on top today, and it was just great to watch, and I'm sure all the viewers enjoyed it too. And we move on now to none other than the Monaco Grand Prix. What a race to go to next. But yeah, I'm sure we'll struggle to top that one today because it was a real cracker. But in the end, it's Josh, despite not feeling too happy about himself, as he said earlier on, he extends his gap in the championship by 3 points further, and now has an 18-point lead at the top. So he's stretched out a little gap there, James, hasn't he?
I think he's got a nice little buffer there now, but we're still early doors in this season. There's a lot to play for yet, and roll on the next one. That's all I'll say. Roll on the next one, like I say every week.
Yeah, roll on the next one. Monte Carlo, what a race to go to next. We're ready, and I hope you guys are too. Congratulations to TRL Limitless on a sensational win. He is our driver of the day today. Well done to the rest of the guys on the podium, Josh and Sarah. But that is all we have time for. If they continue like this, we're going to have some season. We're off to Monaco. See you next week. Goodbye.